Hey guys, in this video we're going to take a look at the Aerovane Fletching Jig by Firenock. This jig weighs in at about 3.5 pounds and is made of some of the finest materials that you can get your hands on. It does have many parts and pieces, so let's get to fletching an arrow and we'll go through each and every piece and how to use it. The first thing we're going to have to do is install the proper chuck into the fletching jig. And to do this, you hold on to the chuck, spin the knob clockwise, which is opposite thread. That will back it out. You give it a push through and then that'll free up the chuck to be removed, and you want to replace that with one that's going to fit the inside diameter of your arrow, or if you're shooting pin knocks, put in the pin knock chuck. And to install it, just push it back in. Now turn it to the left because it's reverse thread, hand tighten it, and now it should be good to go. Just click it to the preset notches 0, 120 and 240. This jig was designed to install the Aerovane by Firenock, which utilizes a straight fletch, but you can install an offset fletch by loosening the set screw of the hook, adjusting it to the offset that you desire, and tighten it back down. By offsetting the arrow holding hook, what you're actually doing then is you're going to apply a straight fletching to an offset arrow shaft, which the end product is going to be an offset fletching. Due to the Aerovane glue being of a thinner viscosity, it is advised to have the unit plumb and level before fletching your arrows. To do this, just loosen up the adjustment knob and utilize the plumb bubble on top of the unit and tighten it back down. This will ensure that when the vane is applied to the fletching, everything will be level and the glue should spread out accordingly. Now it's time to clean our arrow shaft for proper adhesion. What we're going to do is take some acetone, and in this case paper towel, just get it nice and wet, and rub down and clean off the arrow shaft where the fletchings are going to be installed. This will take any carbon dust or any other contaminants off the arrow and allow for a perfect surface for the glue to bond to. With the arrow shaft properly cleaned, now it's time to install the arrow shaft to the fletching jig. With the knock removed, we're going to just push the arrow shaft onto the chuck and push it till it stops. Now we're ready to move to the next step. Now that the arrow is pushed onto the chuck, we want to get that arrow nice and level. So what we're going to do is push down on the shaft until it seats itself into the rollers, which are of course offset because we're shooting for an offset fletching. Then we're going to attach the water level to the arrow. We're going to see if we have a level shaft, and in this case we do not. So we're going to spin the adjustment knob on the holding hook and get it nice and level. And that'll be the perfect environment to install our fletching to. Now it's time to install our vane into our fletching jig's clamp, which is a very strong clamp. So what you're going to have to do is squeeze down, spread out the clamp, drop it in there, and while keeping it open slightly, just slide it down to the notch that you desire and release the clamp, and now you're ready to prepare your fletching. To prep the bonding surface of your fletching, we're going to take some acetone and we're going to dip a Q-tip into it. Take that wet end of the Q-tip and give it one swipe. And now we're going to turn the Q-tip around and take the dry end to give it one swipe, and this will leave us ready for our glue. Due to its viscosity, the Aerovane glue comes with a very fine application needle. This glue goes a long ways due to its thin nature, but if you've used the Aerovane glue once before, that needle has no doubt been clogged up. So what you want to do is use a replacement tip, remove the old one, and install the new tip, and you should be good to go, and the fletching process can begin. So we got our new needle on, and it's time to apply it to our fletching. So what you want to do to apply this glue to the fletching is start off at the end of the fletching, and you want to squeeze it, keep an eye on the needle. As soon as it starts coming out, continue the consistent pressure and just drag it back. A little bit of this glue goes a long ways. As a matter of fact, one bottle of this Aerovane glue should last you 50 to 60 dozen arrows. Now it's time to install our fletching. Since we're doing an offset here, we're going to push the arrow shaft down into the arrow hook's rollers, and we're going to take our glued up vane and clamp and we're going to butt the back end to the jig and then let the front end rock down until the vane is properly seated. Once properly seated, we're going to push down on the clamp's springs and give it a 9 count. And once we hit 1009, we're going to open the clamp, rotate the vane counterclockwise a little bit, and pull the clamp off. Now it's time to rotate the arrow till it snaps into the next position for the next fletching. So here's your finished product. I mean, if you set the jig up properly, clean your shaft and your vane the way that they suggest to do it, the Aerovane glue along with this jig is going to leave you with a bond that's just going to have to be cut off. After the 9 seconds of bonding time, you can go ahead and try to pull it off with your hands or pliers, and it's going to rip. So definitely a very good bond. Hey guys, we hope this video helped you out. As far as applying a straight fletch or a slight offset fletch, this jig is going to be tough to beat. If you want to know more about this jig, go to Firenock.com. And if you liked our video, please hit the subscribe button. It helps us to make more videos in the future. Take care, guys.